Hello everyone, it's Alicia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week's question that was asked on the Pagan Perspective was all about crystals and do we use crystals in our practice? How do we use them? Do we affiliate or associate with them? And for me that answer is yes. I have always loved crystals and stones. When I was a kid, if we would be walking along the beach or just out in nature, if I would love to pick up stones and just feel them, not even really knowing what they are, but I just would just love to feel them in my hands and feel their energy, even though I didn't really know that's what I was doing at the time. I just thought, oh, this is a cool stone and it just feels good to hold it. So I've always had a draw towards stones and sticks and just things out in nature that called to me. And when I started learning about crystals, I just felt a natural draw to them. It made sense that each crystal has its own properties, its own associations with various emotions or energies, elements, things like that. So to answer briefly, yes, I love crystals. I use them a lot in my practice. And with that, I'm going to show you my crystal collection because I have lots of crystals all around my house. I will use them in meditation, but usually I just have them in certain spots and I just let them sit and radiate out their energy as they will. And then if I feel like I need that particular energy, I will pick it up and hold the crystal for a moment, or I'll just pick it up and give it a hug the way you would hug a friend or a loved one if you need their presence or energy with you at that moment. And I also carry some crystals with me. I carry a piece of black onyx in my purse because black onyx is a stone which is associated with absorbing negative energy and transmuting it into positive energy. So I carry that with me in my purse just because you never know what kind of energies you'll pick up just going about your day, being outside and things like that. So I carry that with me. I also have a piece of tiger's eye in my purse because tiger's eye is a very strong stone. I've always felt a connection with the strength of tiger's eye, the spirit of the tiger, and the sun energy that it radiates because I'm a fire sign, so I associate with any stones that deal with the sun or sunshine, those sorts of things, whether it's the more strong sort of masculine go-get-'em energy that tiger's eye has or a more healing, calming energy like rose quartz has. That's my basic overview of crystals. I work with them a lot and I will show you the crystals that I have just around my house. I'll start by showing you the stones at my altar. So this is my altar right here, and over here on the left side is the goddess side of the altar, and right here to represent the goddess, my goddess stone, is a piece of white scolecite, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but when I found it at the crystal shop, it just felt feminine and goddessy to me because it's a very smooth stone. It just feels really good. The energy is really calming and it's white like the moon, so it just reminded me of the goddess, and so I picked it up to have on my altar as the representation of the goddess, because as you can see my altar space isn't that big, so I don't have a lot of room for big statues of the deities I work with. Less is more. I've always lived by that philosophy. So this is my goddess stone, and then here this is the newest addition to my altar. It is just a simple soapstone depiction of the goddess. This is a very famous goddess figurine that's been found in various ancient prehistoric locations. Depictions of the feminine were often in prehistoric cave paintings and art. female depictions were much more specific, whereas depictions of masculine deities or masculine energy was basically limited to phallic symbols, so more simple artistic depictions. But this sort of image of the goddess, just, or women in general, just a woman with breasts and just the basic female form, is very common in ancient art. So many pagans use images like this as representations of the goddess, the priestess, womanhood in general. I got this a couple days ago, and I keep her on my altar on the goddess side, so I'll just put her back right there. And then over here on the god side of my altar, I have a few more stones. This stone right here is a piece of green calcite, which represents the god, which seemed obvious since it comes to a point. And so I have that there as the representation of the god, masculine energy in general. And then here, this stone is very special to me. This is a piece of clear quartz. This was the very first crystal that I picked up when I went down to my local crystal metaphysical shop. And I wasn't even out of the broom closet at this point. I was just going into the shop because I was curious and I wanted to see what I would find. And this crystal jumped out at me right away. I put it back and then walked around the shop a little bit more, and as I kept looking around, I kept being drawn back to this crystal, and I would find it, my hand would find it right away in the little basket of all the other pieces of clear quartz. That's a sign for me when I know that a stone wants to come home with me. If I set it down and I keep being drawn back to it, I know that it wants to come home with me. It's not just an impulse buy. It's not just a buy of, ooh, this is shiny and pretty, I want to bring it home just because it's shiny and pretty. It's a sense of, okay, this crystal, its energy is calling out to me on a spiritual level. And this crystal, I use it as my wand, or as a wand-like object. I'll use it when I'm blessing or cleansing water to use when I'm casting a circle. I will use it in meditation for clear insight. And the energy I get from this stone is very ancient and old. It's a very guiding energy, a masculine energy, obviously, since with its rather pointy shape. And so with all that in mind, with the very ancient, guiding, alchemist-like energy that I feel from this stone, I've named this stone Merlin. Not all my crystals have names, but this one, I call it Merlin. And I'll wake up in the morning and feel it first thing in the morning and be like, hello Merlin, how are you today? This is my most prized stone in my crystal collection so far. I love this one. And it has a very special spot in my heart and on my altar. And here, this stone, I don't know what type of stone it is, but this stone came with me all the way from Sweden. I went to Sweden a couple summers ago. I have ancestors from Sweden on my maternal grandfather's side of the family, and I actually got to visit the house where my great-great-grandfather lived in Sweden with his family before he moved to the United States. And so I picked up a couple of these stones from the front yard and I carried them with me in my purse all the way home with me. So I keep this stone on my altar as a representation of my ancestors. Obviously, as an American, I have ancestors from various parts all over the world, and maybe someday as I collect more things, I will put more things to represent those sides of my family. But for now, I keep this stone as a representation of my Swedish ancestry and my ancestry in general. So there's that stone. And this stone, again, I don't know what type of stone this is, but this is a stone that I got when I went to a reading of a medium, and she had a couple of little stones with her and told us each to pick out one as she did a reading for us. And this is the stone that I selected. And during the reading, the spirit of someone who's very close to me, who's no longer with us, who was like an older cousin to me, but she wasn't technically related to me, but her family and my family were very close, and she came through to me through the medium during the reading. And so I took the stone home with me and keep it next to my ancestor stone because it was just a very powerful experience for me. So Allison, if you're here, this is your stone, and I love you, sister. And those are the stones of my altar, and I will show you now the stones on my desk. We'll just go over here. Over here to my desk. We'll start on this side because here I have a lot of stones. So let's sit down. Here, this stone, this is a seer's stone. And a seer's stone is basically, it's a divination tool, sort of like a crystal ball. And you look through the clear side or the smooth side to see whatever it is Spirit wants to reveal to you. And this is a smoky quartz seer's stone, but seer's stones can obviously be made out of, I suppose, any stone, but this is just the one that I picked up. And then this stone, I'm not sure what stone this is. Some of my crystals and stones I've had for so long, I can't quite remember what they are. But I like this stone just because it's smooth, it feels good in my hand, and it's sort of heart-shaped. And here, these two stones, these are pieces of lapis lazuli, and I adore lapis. It's just a wonderful stone. It just feels very powerful to me. It's a very creative stone. I wear it or hold it when I really need strong creative energy, and lapis has a long history of being used by creative types, especially painters. Long ago, lapis used to be ground up and made into blue paint, and it was valued even more highly than gold in the ancient world because there was no other way to make a paint that had that vibrant or rich of a blue color before synthetic options came about. The only way you could get a paint that beautifully blue was through lapis, and so it has a long history of being used by painters, especially in spiritual art. The Virgin Mary was often, her blue robes and veil were painted with paint made from lapis, and I love this stone. And actually one of the characters in the novel I'm working on, her name is Lapis, and she came to me in a dream. She didn't exist in the original concept of the novel, but all of a sudden she came to me in a dream and was like, hey, I'm here now. And her energy is very much the creative, strong creative energy. I don't want to give too much away with who her character is, but yeah, I love lapis, and so that's a stone I work with and feel very strongly about. And then between the pieces of lapis, I have a piece of tiger's eye. And again, as I mentioned before, I love the strong sun energy, tiger energy of tiger's eye, and I love this piece. I love that you can see the stripes in it, because some pieces of tiger's eye, the stripes aren't quite clear or as detectable, but this one, you can definitely see it, and just the weight of it feels wonderful, and how it just fits so well in my hand. It almost feels like, I think of it as the tiger's paw, and so I'll hold it whenever I need that strong sun energy, tiger energy, tigress energy especially. It feels very, the strong divine feminine energy comes through with this stone. Hence why I keep it between my lapis stones. And here is a piece of rose quartz. And rose quartz, it's a very calming stone. It's used a lot as a stone of healing and just the gentle feminine energy of the rose. And it's pretty. I like this stone. If we move over to this side of my desk, we have some other stones, and I'll move my candle holder out of the way. But here we have some other stones, and I'm not quite sure what these are, if anyone could tell me. This stone I have, it's a gray stone. It's very, as you can see, it's very reflective and shiny like a mirror. And it just feels, it's very calming and just feels very wise and just a good grounding stone. So that's why I have it in front of my Buddha statue, as you can see. And then here, this stone, this is a stone that has the yin and yang symbol on it. And depending on what time of year it is, I'll have it facing a certain way. Since now we're in the light half of the year, I'll have the light side facing up. And then as we enter the dark half of the year, as autumn sets in, I will set it so it's facing like this. Scoot over my little raven, but I'll set it here, and I keep it here next to my statue of Kuan Yin. I got her at the same local shop where I got Merlin, and the shop that I go to, it's where I get most of my crystals, and it's a shop called Amethyst Moon. It's in downtown La Mesa. And another shop that I frequent that's close to that sells crystals too is called Blackbird. But most of my crystals come from Amethyst Moon. It's a shop that's got good energy. And then this stone, I'm not sure what stone this is because it was sent to me as a gift, but I think it's blue agate. I keep it next to my Kuan Yin statue because the energy feels like water, and since it's blue and Kuan Yin is associated with water, so I just keep it there because it seems fitting. And put back my little raven. There you go, buddy. And raven is an animal that I associate with a lot since I was a kid. And here's my little pentacle candle holder. And that was my crystal collection. Do you use crystals? And if so, how do you use them? And also, I should note that people of various faiths, whether you're pagan or not, can use crystals because they come from the earth, and so they're available to everyone. Whatever your path is, do you use crystals? How do you use them? Do you associate with them a lot? What are some of your favorites? And thank you for watching, and blessed be. And I'll see you next time. Bye!